Good afternoon. You're listening to Cannabis Corner on WNHHLP 103.5 FM, broadcasting live from downtown New Haven. We're streaming live on TuneIn Radio and NewHavenIndependent.org. We're also streaming live video on Facebook and YouTube. Just go to your Facebook page, look us up, and hit see first to see and hear all the great programs we have here on WNHHLP. And reminder, Cannabis Corner is also streaming live on the Greenhaven Media Facebook and YouTube page and ProCannabisMedia.com. Good afternoon. It is Monday, November the 25th, 2025. Welcome to Cannabis Corner. I'm your host, Joe LaChance, Joe the Weed Guy, and I, of course, am joined here by the one and only Farmer Lou. Uncle Lou, how are you today?
Ooh, baby, I'm doing quite well, brother. It was an absolutely beautiful weekend. Got to enjoy a couple things, but most importantly, happy birthday to you again, brother Joe.
Thank you.
The community celebrated it in high spirits. I'm sorry I wasn't unable to join you all, but I had a last minute health and wellness thing come up. I started doing strongman. So
I saw that.
Yeah. So
what did you do? Pull something?
No, not at all. We smoked a big old blizzy outside beforehand, me and a couple people, and I got invited last minute, very similarly to what our friend is doing, Lit in Fitness this coming week.
Yeah, I'm trying to get her on the show.
So all good things, Joe, but I wanted to say I loved all the photos. I loved seeing the community coming out and supporting you wholeheartedly. Really seeing the trademark Joe glasses in full effect. So I know you absolutely love it. I know you absolutely love it.
I'm gonna get you both a pair.
That's what I'm talking about. If somebody wants a traditional trademark hippie Joe glasses, what are they, $20 or something?
They're $5, but I'll give you for free if you're nice. You give me a joint, I'll trade you.
Oh, look at that! That's the best way to do it. Trade
you give me a joint, I'll trade you glasses, bro. But usually they're $5.
Baby. There you go, baby. So solid deal, right?
That's it, baby. Free roll for glasses.
There you go. And it's a great way to get into that conversation and club.
And they're cool looking. They come in many colors. Cool, you can match them to your outfits.
So two.
It's all about the accessories. Love it.
For $20, you could have 4 different colors you can match for 4 days out of the week.
It's like back when I was a little girl, like those Swatch watches. You just change out the color of your watch band with your outfit.
There you go.
So, in case you haven't noticed, that's what I do.
That's it. So we do want to celebrate Joe on his birthday and give him his flowers as they go. That was yesterday. So today we continue to honor and appreciate
I did get my flowers yesterday, I will say.
There you go. So I had a good weekend as well. I got to spend Friday, Saturday with my children, which is always nice. I got to take them to a lodge event to show them that as my kids get older, it's something that I think we all face as parents in the cannabis industry. And maybe, Kristen, you can kind of piggyback off of this with me. But in the beginning, when your kids are still young, when they have that super no filter, you don't really want them knowing what you're doing or knowing too much about it because they're still not ready for it. But even though you should introduce them into certain things so that they're educated, but as they get a little bit older, it gets into that time where you're like, okay, well, this is kind of dad's community. It's a safe community. It's nothing bad. You may see certain stigmas. We may look weird and you know what I mean? But we are all good people. So I got to introduce my daughter into one of my communities that we all partake. We have a drink. We are all covered in tattoos, but we're all family men, doing good things for our community and doing tons of community service in our space. And she was like, wow, look, Dad, you actually do have a friend. You just don't sit home. And because we make a joke because, I work somewhat remotely, my kids sometimes say, well, my dad is unemployed, homeless, and is a bum. But
oh my God. We love those kids, but oh my God.
My very emo daughter is like, my father hangs out in his house. He must be unemployed, and I don't know what he does. He just sits home and by himself. He's lonely. I'm like, I'm not lonely. Like, I got friends. I got friends, and you have to try to convince your 13-year-old daughter that you have friends. She's like, you're lonely, daddy. You need to go make some friends. I'm like, I got friends. I swear I have friends. She's like, are you sure, Dad? I see you at home all the time. Like, you're
sure?
not out there. Like, you need a friend. I'm like, I got friends, baby. I swear. I swear people like me, maybe. And even the people who don't like me still want to be around me.
Like they still.
There you go.
Your kids will humble you more than anyone in your whole life.
She's like, are you sure, Dad? I was like, I'm positive I've got friends. So now there was a pasta dinner at the lodge, and we're all sitting there. We had have a little drink. We discussed things. Some of my old college friends who were in the lodge were there, and they were like, oh, I haven't seen you in a couple of years. And our kids are getting older, so they were all playing together. My daughter's just sitting there, 13 years old, going on 35. You know what I mean? Just like,
Oh, where does she get that from?
Yeah, oof. I think, well, Kristen, you've got 2 daughters. Would you agree? Is that usually that age bracket? It's, they hit that 10, 11, 12, and then they automatically think that they're 35 and they're your bestie and they can kind of act and talk any way they want?
Oh,
yeah. They're adults all of a sudden, right?
I was like, the irony of that, mine are 21. One is actually an adult. She's very much like, I'm just a baby. And then the 11-year-old is much like you're saying, she knows everything. You can't tell her anything. She's got the whole world figured out already. And also tells me I have no friends.
Yeah, and you got the 11-year-old saying, you sure you have friends? Are you
exactly.
Sure?
It's like, you don't really go anywhere. Dude, you're at school.
Yeah, what do you know?
It's like, and then when you're home, I can't go anywhere because of you.
Exactly.
I'm like, you're the one who's holding me back.
All right.
So now I bring her along, and she was like, wow, there's a lot of people that you talk to. And we saw some good friends at the lodge. I met some people that were like, hey, I'm part of the Burn and Learn community. I'm part of this community. I'm part of that community. And they all kind of overlap. So you never know where you are.
Said little segue. Shout out as loud as I can freaking shout to the Burn and Learn community.
There you go.
That's all I got to say, man. From the top of my lungs, I'm shouting out the Burn and Learn community. Yesterday's event and all their events, be honest with you, are top notch. The love, I was feeling the love. Lou,
oh, Kristen. There you go.
That was more than anything. There's great food, better food than I've had in ages, more food than I've seen in years. But more than anything, it was love.
There you go, Joe.
Feeling the love,
shout out to Jen and Pat
and Jen.
And then everybody else that they got there. I know that Sarah's a part of that. I know a couple other people. And so shout out to Jen, Pat, Sarah. Throw some names out there, Joe.
Jen, Pat, Sarah, Christina. Yeah, Natasha. There's all kinds
there you
of
go.
people
all good people.
I can't even name them all.
There you go.
There's so many, but they were all, I was just feeling the love, man.
You guys made you made the old hippie shed a little tear there. So
right back, I felt like I was a hippie again. Peace and love, baby. It was great.
There you go.
And my brother showed up. I want to give a big shout out to my brother. One of my favorite people in the world.
We don't shout out your brother enough sometimes. And he is another local small business owner. And what is the name of his store out in Guilford, right?
It is called the CBD Cellar. And you're right. He doesn't like me to shout him out that much. But today I'm going to because he showed up big time for me. And he always shows up big time for me. He's younger than me, but I call him my bigger brother. His name is Jeff. Jeff LaChance, and yes, he owns the store called the CBD Cellar up in Guilford. He sells all kinds of great CBD products. And, if you ever need, go up there, you just tell him you know me and he'll take care of you.
There you go. And then we'll give one more shout out. Shout out to Stone Garden Farms.
Yes.
Go ahead and Joe and give them. They donated a turkey.
Shout out to Fred and Tommy. Donated an excellent organic turkey, of which I took home a big piece of.
Nice.
Because we had so much food, and it was delicious. It outshined the Butterball by a ton of points, but it was great.
And they have a local store, which Joe visits the store all the time. So we want to make sure, and they always give Joe a shout out. They are avid PLR listeners. We like to shout our friends out on PR. I know I'm running long today, Joe, but it was just a weekend full of friendsgivings and happiness as we go into this now holiday season with Thanksgiving coming this week. So shout out to all the people do. So, Stone Garden Farms has their store in Ansonia. Joe, you can take a little bit more on
Huntington Road.
Yep.
It's where Common Bond used to be.
Yep.
If you remember, Common Bond was owned by Josh Elliott, one of our legislators. Very popular store in Huntington. Unfortunately, they closed, but Fred, Stone Gardens, Fred, of course, was also involved in Wepa Farms. So we have a nice tie-in there. He's a great guy, and I see him down there all the time, and he was so generous to donate a nice 20-pound turkey.
A big turkey, not a little guy.
It was delicious.
And you can go over there. You can get local Stone Garden Farm CBD that was grown right on their fields by Joe,
and processed
myself.
by Uncle Lou.
Yep, Joe was there every couple days doing the thing, processing with us, and so it's a whole family affair there. When you talk local, you really have to understand that Joe's been a part of this scene since the very beginning and helped legalize and help push it together, both on the CBD side. And there are some really dope individuals who don't get their flowers all the time that really do things, like the Monahan family. That Monahan family has been, as much as they didn't want to in the beginning, they said no. They were like, no, that's crazy. You want to grow what here? And then they said, you know what, we'll give it a shot. So shout out to the Monahan family, shout out to the Joneses family, shout out to the O'Hare family, who are all local farmers that help support that local agriculture.
That's right.
So
all right here in the Shelton area.
Yeah. All right. So we mumbled on along enough.
Kristen, it's your turn.
Yeah.
I want to shift to you and tell us about the party.
Just hanging out in the corner, just listening. Tell us what's going on with you. Any events coming up?
I have been slacking on keeping up with the events. I was joking. I'm like, I'm more of a nerd that reads the newspaper. I should just highlight us on news updates. I don't go anywhere. No, my weekend was pretty chill, quiet. I don't really talk about it on air much, but you guys know I do marketing for some folks. So I started working with Shoreline Hydroponics. So shout out to those guys. So really just sifting through pictures and stuff like that, just catching up on some work stuff. My daughter comes home this week, so Michaela will be home soon.
Well, we all got Thanksgiving coming up on Thursday.
I know.
I do know I'm not cooking, no. Are you?
I have a turkey in my possession. Peace be with us all. It's frozen.
I do know of one event. That's it. But obviously, because of Thanksgiving, I don't really think there's much going on next weekend or during this week. Do you have anything?
Lou mentioned something that Aaron is doing. I believe it's December 2nd, and I don't have my phone in front of me.
Oh, okay. December 4th. December 4th it is. This one is the one I had, but go ahead, Lou.
No. Go ahead then, because I'm going to be scrambling to pull up the details.
You're fine. So we'll go through some of the events that we have. I know that there's Salt and Oil Yoga is going on tomorrow evening, and that's our friend over at Salt and Oil Yoga.
That's right, in New Canaan. That's right.
In New Canaan. So I want people to look out for that. So that's a good one. We have Lit and Fit that's coming up as well.
That's right.
Joe can go more into that if that's the event he was talking about. I also know Aaron up in Hartford is doing a singles event that's coming up. So
that's right.
These are all things that you should start to look for as the holiday season comes forward. There are a ton of food drives that will be happening.
That's right.
Nautilus Botanicals will be hopefully opening at the end of next year or the beginning of the quarter. But in turn of that, we are doing a canned food drive for the holiday, jackets or anything and everything that comes in. You can stop off at any of our friends, drop it off, and just let them know it's for, Lou or Joe or Cannabis Corner, and we'll be donating that stuff to Next Level Empowerment and The Shack. Those are our two New Haven local philanthropies that Joe and Kristen haven't agreed to yet, but there's no reason for them to say no. That Cannabis Corner will also be highlighting whatever donations or anything that goes. And it goes literally right here to our New Haven community. The Shack is an all generations, all ages community center for everybody. Literally, if you just are bored at home and you just want to get out of your house, you can go over to the Westville area, go to the Shack, and they usually have some type of like childcare going on. So if you want to donate your time, you could always go over there with other licensed professionals and kind of help out. If you're like, hey, I've got a little bit of time to work in a garden during the spring and summer and late fall, they have a garden that we're trying to revamp. If you're just like, you know what, these kids are coming out, let me prepare some stuff in the kitchen, or if there's going to be like a walkabout for those that are in need, the houseless and the less advantaged, that you're just putting together snack bags in the kitchen for people to come and take. You know, there's always something there. Next Level Empowerment is looking to help those who are coming out of the justice system that were previously incarcerated, and they are putting together houses. So if there's some houseware you might have, some right now we're seriously looking for bed sheets, pillowcases, anything like that. That if you're, you know, even if you jump on Groupon, hit Walmart, Kmart, the 99-cent store, whatever, we're not looking for, you know, name brand or super amazing stuff, but something that an individual who might have faced some hard times. So a lot of people were put into jail for drugs that you don't even understand. Because when I came out of things, it was real tough, and I got chastised because Connecticut labeled it as narcotics, even though it was just cannabis.
Yeah, mine too.
Yeah, so that, and we keep saying that. So sometimes if you're a hiring person, or if you're somebody who's in a position of power that sees narcotics on a background check or sees narcotics on something, just take a second to ask if you are interested in knowing, because it could have just been cannabis. And as silly as it sounds, people are still being arrested for cannabis. So we have to continue on our local levels to push for these things. There's a local limit. So if you are driving around and you might have more than 5 ounces in your pocket, that is above the legal limit. Just remember that. So anything over 5 ounces is above the legal limit. And you just be aware of it, especially in the holidays. There's so many stops, and don't go out and drink and drive. Do not put yourself in a position to get all hemmed up about something. It's about celebration. True. Call a cab, call a taxi, call an Uber. Don't travel around with more than 5 ounces in your pocket. Just be smart about it.
This is good holiday advice.
Yeah, 4 ounces is more than enough for a fun night.
So quarter ounces, but anyway.
Well, I said quarter pound, Joe. I smoke a lot. What do you want me to say?
All right. I do have one event that I really, really want to highlight.
Do it, Joe.
This comes from our good friends, Lisa Capitani, Aaron Doolittle, and Uma Zakir. 3 really good ladies, 3 good friends of the show, excellent healers, joined together, are putting together an event called Alternatives to Medication. So it's going to have Aaron, Lisa, and Uzma. They all got all kinds of letters after their name. And you also, if you are a nurse, you can receive 3 RSS CEUs. So those are credits.
So this is
for
continuing education
credits. This is an official. You knew what that was.
This is an official event, an official health registered, accredited event. So this isn't just education. Like I want to stress that, Joe.
Regular people can go there.
That's right.
But if you are in the nursing field, you can gain continuing education credits from this. These are all professionals doing this. We all know them. I've worked with all 3 of them in very different capacities. And that's December 4th. All right. So mark that date. 1 to 4, Silas Dean Highway, Rocky Hill, Connecticut. You can find out from advocacyunlimited.org.
Isn't it awesome that that's actually seen as a professionally accredited event, man?
Yeah, I think
that's such a huge. But we definitely have guests. We have things going on. I don't want to hold everybody up. We've just had so much love being shared in the last couple days, and what's coming up for this holiday season. Remember, there's so many less fortunate individuals, so let's do what we can to embrace their life with love as well.
Well, you talked a lot about giving to the community and donating, and now this is the season. I do want to mention one thing before I bring Jen on. December 13th, I will be going to the Chaz and AJ Toy Drive to kind of represent, the cannabis community. Maybe I'll have you drop them off at the Grove or something for me. That might be a good idea. But yeah, that's the only other thing. Yeah, I will be going down there to bring some toys and, of course, community out.
Let's let the cannabis. Yeah, it's a good chance for the cannabis community to show out and really do something public, because the Chad and AJ show, they really get a lot of response from their toy drive. It's a huge thing.
Huge.
So, and they love Joe the Weed Man. They love our show. They've been real supportive. Let's show them that we have a couple. We may have 5 on it, but we got another 5 for a toy someplace. So
That's right. Exactly. All right. So with us right now is Jen Brown. And Jen is the owner of Oho. And so, with a career that once thrived in the pharmaceutical industry, Jen's life took a transformative turn following a personal battle with cancer that spanned nearly 3 decades. After healing herself with Rick Simpson oil, this profound experience ignited her passion for natural remedies, leading her to the world of cannabis and its untapped medicinal properties. Jen is not just a survivor, she's a visionary who sees beyond the stigma, dedicating her life to educating others about the benefits of cannabis for wellness. Her mission is clear: to spread awareness about the healing powers of cannabis, build a supportive community around her brand, and empower others through education. As she looks to the future, Jen is focused on expanding her reach, touching more lives with her message of natural healing, and continuing to be a source of strength and inspiration for many. Welcome, Jen. How are you
Wow.
today?
Hey, how are you, Joe? Nice to see you.
Oh, nice to see you too. Thanks for coming on today. So, we met at the CCSBA fundraiser,
We did.
and I was very intrigued by your company. I liked what you're doing over there. And you did tell me the other day when we spoke that you had an interesting story about how you got into cannabis, which we touched on a little bit in the intro.
Yep.
But I'd like to hear a little bit more about that. And of course, then let's talk about your store and what else you got going on. But I'd love to hear that story you're telling me about. How did you get into the industry? What inspired you? We're talking about 3 decades to be
Yep.
fighting, an illness. That's a long time. So,
Very long time. Yeah.
yeah.
So I was diagnosed with cancer for the first time when I was 22 years old, living in Boston by myself. And I was just young and naive and felt invincible and just was like, okay, so how do we fix this? It was just kind of one of those things. I think probably because I was so young, it was probably a good thing. I didn't know better, right? At 22.
Right,
And
right.
anyway, so I started my journey of battling a disease. My first diagnosis was a cervical cancer, pretty straightforward, not so challenging, to work with. But the solution the medical community wanted me to do was have a hysterectomy, and I was
At
just like
22?
at 22.
Oh,
And I was
wow.
like, yeah, no, that's not going to happen. That's just not an option for me. And I want to do something different. So I chose, a much less invasive surgery. And then I did the whole chemotherapy and radiation route and all the stuff that comes with the traditional care for cancer, the paradigm that they throw at
The
all of
chemical
us.
care for cancer.
Yes, the chemical care. And, I did better. And then I beat it. I was doing great. And then 4 years later, almost 5 years later, I was diagnosed again with another cancer, which was kind of strange because it was a second primary cancer. And again, we did the same route, surgical, radiation, chemotherapy, and I went on my way. And then I got diagnosed a few years later with a third one. And this just kept going and going and going. And these were all different primary cancers that I was getting
Mm.
diagnosed with. And this was before the whole genetic testing that we have now. It was brand new back then. It didn't even really exist. It was just everybody started they were just treating you for cancer.
Yeah,
Flash
because you got to
forward.
think if it keeps coming back, there's got to be some systemic or root
Correct.
cause of it.
Correct. And after years of this journey of getting diagnosed, getting better, getting diagnosed, getting better, I finally did see a geneticist in New York City. And he did find an anomaly. And basically I have chronic cancer. It's a condition very few people have,
Wow.
but my body just keeps getting cancer. And so for 28 years, I did this dance of getting diagnosed, having chemotherapy, having surgery, having radiation, having medication, and all this stuff. I just did this dance for 28 years.
Now, what kind of toll did that take on your body?
Terrible, terrible, to the
Right.
point where after 28 years, my doctor said, I can't keep doing this to you. I can't keep giving you chemo. At this point, we're killing you. And
Mhm.
it's the risk reward is just no longer on your side. So the damage that we're doing to you is greater. Putting you at greater risk than the cancer itself. And I was like, well,
Right.
no shit, Einstein. I feel it. I know.
Right.
And
You had to live in
so
the body, right?
I'm living it. Yeah. So I said, okay, so then what's the plan? And he said, well, I don't really have one. And I said, well, without treatment, what does that look like for me? And he said, you probably will live 6 months.
Because it'll
And
keep coming back.
I was like, what? What does that mean? Now, backing up a little bit before that conversation, for about almost a year before that conversation, one of my good friends, her name's Carmen, she introduced to me Rick Simpson oil. And she said to me, you should
Ah.
take it. I used it for she had triple negative breast cancer. She used it very successfully for her cancer. She said, I really think you should do this. And of course, my dumb answer was, I can't do that. I get drug tested for my job because I was in the pharmaceutical industry. You know, I
Oh
worked.
yeah, that's right. You
Yeah,
you
let's
were
forget
actually
that part of the
selling these
story.
drugs? Were you a salesman?
I didn't sell, I never sold in the oncology space just because it was just I
Right.
didn't want to like live in my job and
But you were
live.
selling other stuff.
I sold other stuff. I actually, what I used to do in the pharmaceutical world is I would work for smaller companies and help them bring products to market. So new product launches and a variety of different disease states. Intentionally, never oncology. It was just too close to home for me.
Right,
And I
because you're dealing with
Correct. So that was the only place I never worked in. But yeah, so I was like, I get drug tested for my job. And, quite frankly, after a 20-year career in the pharmaceutical industry, I was both personally and professionally brainwashed, if you will.
anti-cannabis, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I was like, I don't want to use cannabis. I never was like a pot smoker in school. Hung out, many of my friends were, but I just never was. And so it was very foreign to me. That whole idea of cannabis was very, very foreign to me. And I didn't have an understanding of it. And I was just nervous. And so I said, no. And I kept saying to her, no, no, no. Well, flashback forward to the conversation I had with my doctor with 6 months to live without continuing on the poison route. Um, my friend Carmen said to me, well, what good is your job if you're dead? Who cares if you get drug tested? And that was it. That was when she said that. I was like, oh, that's so true. So I bought my Rick Simpson oil the next day. I got in touch and I started the Rick Simpson journey. A week later, I told my doctor that I was using it and he was
Mhm.
supportive, which was
Oh, that's
amazing.
good.
Yep, he was very supportive of that. And but I begged him to keep giving me the chemo while I was doing the Rick Simpson oil. I was afraid to totally break up with the chemo. I know it sounds so stupid, but I was like, it was my lifeline for 28 years.
Yeah,
So I was
you
like,
kind of be you I hate to think of it like that, but it's almost like you become dependent on it
you do,
as your
you do.
lifesaver,
Mhm. It
even
was
though
just,
it's not.
no, it was killing me, but I couldn't wrap my arms around that. So I showed him some data that, said, look, it's protective. The RSO will be protective of the damage that comes from the chemo. And at that point, he was just like, fine, we'll do it. I'll continue this. We'll make some changes. You can do both. So I was doing both. And then COVID came. This was all right before COVID. And I got COVID, so I couldn't get into the hospital to get my chemo. I literally almost died of COVID. He said, my doctor's brilliant. He said, I'm not even letting you come in here. I don't even think they're treating this right now. I want you to go home. I want you to move. I want you to walk. You have your port. We'll do steroids if we need to. He gave me all this stuff to do to go home. And so I did. I went home, got very sick from the COVID. But my daughter was taking care of me. And I said, I don't care what happens, Maddie. I don't care how sick I am. I don't care if you have to give me the suppositories of my Rick Simpson oil yourself. Do not let me, I want a gram a day at least of this Rick Simpson oil every
Don't let me
single
in the
day.
slack, right?
Yeah,
Right.
you need to do this. And she did. And it took me 7 weeks of being really sick from COVID. And then another 2 months, I kept testing positive, even though I wasn't, I was
Mhm.
feeling okay. But I couldn't get back in the hospital because back then at the very beginning, they wouldn't let me
Yeah.
back in. There's better understanding of it now. But with all of that said, for that whole period, my only fight for both COVID as well as my cancer was the Rick Simpson oil. So I got back into the hospital and my doctor said, okay, let's take a look and see what's going on here. So they did a scan and all of my tumors had radically shrunk, like
Over the
ridiculously.
time that you were not
Just
doing
doing-
chemo, just doing RSO.
Correct. Correct.
Mhm.
Yep. So we both looked at each other and I said, well, you know what I'm going to say. Peace out. I'm doing the Rick Simpson oil.
Right.
Rick Simpson for the win.
Right on.
So I left the hospital and continued. I did Rick Simpson for a whole year. At this point, I had metastatic breast cancer that was in my brain, my lungs, and my hip. So it was, and my body was
Wow.
very sick. It took a lot of work, but it took after 1 year and 240 grams of Rick Simpson, I went from stage 4 metastatic cancer with 6 months to live to no evidence of disease.
Wow.
And so that was ridiculous for both
No,
myself
that's a
and my
big
doctor. He
success
actually quit his job
story.
to go research.
Your doctor quit his job because you were able to clear your body of tumors within a year
Mhm.
using RSO only. And
Mhm.
I don't know if you realize what an amazing accomplishment that is and what a breakthrough that is for cannabis, just like to show people that it can
Mhm.
actually work.
Oh,
I mean,
oh.
240 grams, you had the number down, you knew exactly how much you took,
Exactly. Mhm.
but it worked.
It worked. It worked. And I got my life back. And once you go through something like that,
Wow.
you can't unexperience it.
Yeah.
And you can't just ignore that. So I left the pharmaceutical industry, both personally and professionally,
Mm.
and just delved into learning. I just took the time to learn about the plant, to learn about the benefits, to try to understand how this happened, why this happened. I mean, I knew how, but I wanted to know why. Why did this work so well? I met with growers all over the place and just jumped into learning and learning and learning. And, and the more people I talk to, and there are thousands of us that have the story very similar to mine, where they use Rick Simpson oil to heal themselves. Now, my situation was different because of how sick I was when I brought it on board. But there's a lot of people out there, and I talked to as many of them as I can, and I shared my story. And simply by sharing my story, as you can imagine, my phone blew up. People were calling
Yeah.
me, my whole life changed. And I went from this, 20-year veteran in the pharmaceutical industry, 28 years of having cancer, raising my daughter with cancer and, as a mom the whole time and having her help me, to this person that was helping others to do the same. And my whole life just completely changed for the better. I mean, I'm helping so many people. I've helped thousands of people by now. And what was happening is that when I would talk to people and hear their stories and try to get them the Rick Simpson oil as quickly as they could, and I was giving my medicine to people. I was like, oh, you're sicker than me, you take mine. And so I was skipping the important maintenance dose of the process and of the journey, of bringing it down from a gram a day to, just a tiny bit every day, just to keep my body healthy. And I was just not taking care of myself. I was taking care of everybody else. And as a result, the story gets even crazier. As a result, my cancer came back in the form of a glioblastoma.
What is that?
So a glioblastoma is probably the most aggressive cancer you can have. It's a brain tumor. It's an incurable brain tumor. Very few people survive past 5 years. When I say few, it's 3% maybe.
Yeah, right.
So I had this glioblastoma that I was just like, oh my God, I can't believe this happened. But you know what?
Rick Simpson?
Yep. I went right to Rick Simpson. I did not pass go. I did not even consider.
Didn't even bother with the chemo or nothing, right?
Nothing.
None of their
Didn't even consider
methods.
it.
Yeah.
The
You
only
just doubled
thing
down, right?
I just doubled down. I just got myself back up to a gram a day and I went back in and I was like, I'm going to do this. Now, with that said, my mother was like, Jen, this is scary. A glioblastoma is scary. She hopped on the internet and all the horrible things.
Right,
I was like,
right.
Mom, I'm out there advocating for this plant and its healing power. And I'm telling people to choose this over their chemotherapy, or at the minimum in conjunction
That
with it.
can't be a hypocrite.
I
Yeah.
cannot be a hypocrite. I
Yeah.
will not do it. And I trust it. I trust it. So I made a deal with her. I said, listen, I'll do 30 grams because one whole cycle is 60 grams. So I said halfway through the cycle at 30 grams, I'll get a scan done. I'll get an MR, a CAT scan done, and we'll see what it looks like. And if things are not looking great, then, I'll make the switch to traditional medicine. Now, with that promise, my fingers were crossed and I had zero intention of following through on making a change, but it made my mom sleep better at night. But I did follow through on the CAT scan, and after 30 grams, my tumor was a little bit bigger, which for a glio is a win. That was amazing. It's a very fast growing tumor. So I was like, I'm gonna keep going. So I did it. I did another 30 grams. And then I did another 30 grams. So I did a total of 90 grams, and my glio's gone.
Totally gone.
Totally gone. There's one little mark left, but they think that's something residual, but the
Like a
actual
scar, yeah.
active tumor is gone. Yes.
Wow.
And I got a little creative with it that time because I was trying to figure out how can I get this the best way. So typically I would take the RSO orally as well as with a suppository. The suppository is a great option when you need to
yes.
get doses
I
in
do
fast.
know.
Huge
I
advocate.
use them.
Not huge advocate for the suppository, especially at the higher dosages.
Yep.
Huge advocate. We've got some good friends of it. You are collaborating and sharing evidence that we have seen throughout the community, that I think the medical community themselves is starting to get to it, but at the same time, they don't want to actually say, yes, it works, because, RSO should be readily available. And if you are in the community, you definitely know where to find some. It's not the most expensive thing in the world. It's something that is easily, and it could 100% do exactly what you're saying. And there's so many other people in the communities that are saying, yes, this is working. We have pharmacists, we have doctors, we have nurses, and you are 100% showing it and living it and doing it, and just, you really have a grasp on this as well, and it's great to hear this from you. But suppositories, and this is the part a lot of people don't talk about, the suppository method, because hey, you're putting something up your butt, and it's not the most comfortable for everybody immediately, but it's such a wondrous way to actually receive
It's one of the
RSO.
fastest way to get it into your bloodstream.
Right.
Yeah, and you don't get that intense high. Take it
No.
orally. It's a tough one. I mean,
Yeah, you're right.
You know what I mean? Like the first time I took it, I took too much and it was horrible. It was just such a bad experience. I did it by mistake. I'm a type A personality. I just want to get it done. I wanted to, get it done, get it in. And what I learned the hard way, and I communicate this to everybody I work with, it is something you have to take slow. You have to, you have to acclimate your body. You have to get used to it. You can get to a gram a day orally. It takes time, but with a suppository, you can get there very quickly. You can get there very, very quickly if you need to. And then the third way I took, I always advocate, I agree with your thoughts on the suppository. I think it's a really underutilized way of delivering RSO. And I scream from the rooftops to everybody. It's such a great way to deliver the medicine. I also believe you do need to take it orally as well. I mean, I always say you got to get high to heal. I think
100%.
that's important.
Yep.
So I really make sure that everybody understands that. But when I had the glio, specifically, I actually made a nasal spray out of it too. And I was blowing it up as a nasal spray. And that is a direct route into the area that I was trying to get the tumor reduced at. And it was so effective. I didn't do the spray right away. After for the first 30 grams, I was just doing suppository as well as oral. But then when the tumor, although it did get bigger and that was a win with that specific type of tumor I had, I was like, I gotta figure this out. And I just researched and researched, and I was like, I'm going to make a nasal spray. And I did. And once I included the nasal spray, the tumor just was like melting away.
Oh,
So
wow.
it was incredible. Yeah. My scans
Now, what did you use as a base?
So MCT oil I used as a base for all of
Mhm.
them. It's one of my bases, and I just would dilute it down and just kept diluting it down. I actually had someone in I did not effectively make the nasal spray because I was just like, oh, I'll just put some more MCT oil in there. That wasn't the solution. So I worked with a woman in California who's Rachel, and she actually created the nasal spray for me, and she now does that for everybody I send to her with a glio.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, yeah.
Wow. See, that's a whole nother way you wouldn't normally think
Oh yeah,
taking THC or cannabis, but you're
one hundred
right.
percent.
And you
It's
can,
a
and yeah, and saline in there too, I used.
yeah,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
nano emulsified, and we definitely have the technology to do it now, and it's such a great place and a great way to do it. You are speaking volume. You know, not only are you taking the RSO in one form, but you're able to utilize it in three different forms. So we're talking three different absorption methods. We're talking one through the intestines, passes to bloodstream. We're talking orally, as we're talking going through the mucous membrane of your nose, and you're
Yep.
pushing it right to where your concentrated doses need to be, which is really awesome. You really have. And so continue to tell us, but as we continue to get closer, we want to know more about Oho.
Oh,
Yeah.
I
How
know.
did
So
this
we'll get
obviously
there.
led you into getting
This is
into
how I ended
the
up in the
business.
cannabis space, right? So I was helping people, and I still do. They call me. But what I was noticing when I was helping people who are sick manage their disease and eradicate their disease with RSO, I was paying super close attention to the family members around. You know, the anxiety, the lack of sleep, the poor, all the stuff for the caregivers and the family members. And I thought, I want to help them too. So I went on a hunt for a really nice hemp line. I wanted a nice, soft, hemp product to offer them. They didn't need the intensity of what I was, doing clearly. So I couldn't find anything I really loved. And I came across Oho. Now, I'm not the owner of Oho. I just wanted to correct you. I'm the owner of my Oho store.
Oh, so
Um,
you own a specific store of
I
Oho.
own two
Okay.
stores, and I'm Oho's educator. I'm in partnership with Oho.
Okay.
So
So
I
tell
do
us a
all
little
of
bit
their
about them.
education and stuff. Yeah. So I came across this line and I tried it, and I was like, this is really great stuff. They work just with small farmers, 40 acres and under.
Here we go.
Yep, there they are. Yep. So, we only work with small sustainable farms, 40 acres or under, organically grown, hand harvested. It's a great little company. It started interestingly enough, it started about the same time I found RSO, or not found it, but it was introduced to me. So about 5 or 6 years ago, and they've just developed a beautiful line. It started out with just your basic tinctures, and they've grown into chocolates and gummies and beautiful
I've
body.
had the drinks. They're good.
The drinks are really good. They're not afraid to play with THC levels, and a lot of commercial hemp companies are a little nervous about playing with those, THC levels. So, when I came in, I was like, we need things with higher THC. Some people need it. They need to have it. And everything we make is hemp derived. And we have things that range from broad spectrum all the way up to elevated THC products like our seltzers, and a couple of our one of our sleep products and one of our daytime gummies, have 5 milligrams is the highest we go. We're actually just collaborated with Red. I don't know if you're familiar with Red. That's the organization that Bono from
Oh,
YouTube.
yes.
Yeah, so
They
we
do
just did a
them things in Walmart sometimes, right? With the red
Yeah, so big
noses
brands
or whatever.
collaborate with them and create a specific line for them. We've done a collaboration with them. We're their only cannabis company that they
Mhm.
have invited into the collaboration. So we're super excited about that. And as I was working with this company and doing all their education, they approached me and said, "How do you feel about opening a store? And why don't you open your own store? And we will, partner with you on it." And I was like, at first, I was like, I don't know if I want to do a retail store, but I did. I said, last year was my year of yes. I said, I'm going to say yes to everything that comes my way. So I said yes, and it's been amazing. And the best part about it is my store is in Kent, Connecticut, and I also have one in Woodbury, Connecticut. And what I love is just being able to help, belly to belly and, heart to heart and soul to soul. When people are coming in, I'm finding people of all ages coming in and saying, I don't know anything about hemp or marijuana or cannabis in general. And, but I have created this very, very inviting space where people of all
Right.
ages can come in and ask questions and learn and get help. And I can provide solutions for them through these products. And it's been an incredible journey. It's been really great. I'm thrilled to be in partnership with this company. I'm thrilled to be able to help people prevent disease before it gets to a place like mine did.
Right.
We all know inflammation is the root of all disease. So,
Yep.
just to help people with the preventative part of it, or just help with sleep, anxiety, skin conditions, things that at one point people just automatically would go to a pharmaceutical solution. I love that they're coming to me and saying, can you help me before I do that? Can I try something more natural? And it's just so rewarding, and I love it.
Well, that's the mindset more people need to have is cannabis, CBD, and natural healing should be your first stop before. And I love, something struck me before when you were talking. You said traditional medicine, right? And I'm thinking to myself, no. You know what traditional medicine is?
Marijuana.
Cannabis.
That's right.
Cannabis, natural plants, all the things that they used to use to heal. That's traditional medicine.
It is.
What we're getting is what I call chemical medicine.
It is.
And so we need to get back to traditional medicine.
We do. I mean, cannabis was one of the first registered medicines in the pharmacopoeia.
U.S. Pharmacopoeia, yes.
So this is no joke. We're coming back, and we need to protect it. And unfortunately, we're in a climate where we're working hard to protect this and get it more available. And, whatever I can do to do that, I speak all over the place. I scream. I mean, oh my God, the pharmaceutical companies love it. I mean, listen, I was on one of the launch teams for OxyContin. I saw what that did firsthand.
Okay.
And when I think that is still legally available and readily available, as well as Vicodin, as well as oxycodone, all of it is.
And
so
even how about some of the psychiatric drugs are just as bad.
All of them. They're terrible. And, when someone calls.
But we got to fight for this.
We gotta fight for this, right? It's stupid. It's ridiculous how hard we have to fight for this and advocate. And, the laws are changing.
Educate. It's amazing how the lawmakers and even the people in charge of like the FDA, how ignorant they are as far as the benefits and what this plant is really about.
Yeah,
and
I'll tell you, Joe.
Obviously, it's past brainwashing, but still.
It's past brainwashing. This stuff, going back to the cancer, I remember, I have a memory, maybe 10 years ago, it could have been more, but I was getting my chemotherapy and it leaked out of the bag. And do you know when that happened? They cleared the room and people came in hazmat suits to clean up around me. I was stuck there. And that for me, I was like, what am I doing?
What am I putting in my body?
Yeah. It's insane. We have this amazing plant, and I think we just all have to lock arms and unite and share our stories and journeys and not be afraid and do what we're doing. We're all doing good work, and I'm proud of all the work that we are all doing. And I'm
and it's great. I'm glad we finally linked up. I had seen your products out there. Now we're getting towards the end. Tell us a little bit about you have 2 stores, you said.
We do.
Where are they located?
Yep. So my first store, my flagship store is in Kent, Connecticut, 27 North Main Street. So I'm just directly across the street from the Kent Library. And I opened that one up Memorial Day weekend. So that was a pretty new opening, and it's done incredibly well. I'm up there right now 7 days a week. During the winter, that might change because it does get a little, quiet
and
up.
The town's been receptive to it.
That's a really good question. Yes and no. For the people that were coming into the store, they were like, this is amazing. I love that you're here. And then there were people that like, how do you get the pot in here? I'm like, okay, this is not marijuana, it's hemp. Let's start with that. And so there were some bumps in the road along the way, but Kent is an extremely welcoming community. And once they learned what I brought, the way I brought it to their town, I kept the store in line with their community. You know, I didn't come in like a wrecking ball, and
Right.
I just
Right.
came in very discreetly, and my whole business was built word of mouth. You know, I didn't do
Right.
any advertising. There's nothing out there that says hemp, CBD, anything. It just says OHO. People come in out of curiosity. And I've created a very warm environment where people are
Nice.
coming in very comfortably asking questions. They spill their guts to me. They tell me everything that's going on with them, and I help them find a solution with hemp. And it's
Right.
beautiful. It's become a very beautiful relationship with the
That's
community of
great.
Kent. I'm grateful for that.
And how
Uh,
about Woodbury?
Woodbury, I have a little pop-up here in Woodbury.
Okay.
So this is where I'm at right now. My stepdaughter owns a beautiful hair salon called the Front Page Beauty Bar, and I rented a little area in her salon. So I just, I come in. It's kind of Woodbury's come up like more of a pickup station for
Hmm.
people who come in, take what they need, send me a picture, and I charge their card. Like
Yeah.
my community is Woodbury. Woodbury is where I live. And once I saw what I was doing in Kent and helping people in Kent to heal, I had a very strong pull to do the same in my own community. So
Right.
this one's only been open for about a month, and so far it's been really great. And we're helping a lot of people in Woodbury too, which is great.
That's pretty awesome. Now, what's your social media and your website? So how can they find you online? And let us know, do you go out to events? Do you do events? Will you be appearing or speaking anywhere too? I'd love to know about that.
I will. I'll be speaking. I believe I'll be speaking at the Cannabis event in Southington in February.
Expo can, all
Yeah,
right.
Expo Canna. Yep, I believe I spoke at that last year as well. So I'll be
Okay.
speaking at that one. My social media is predominantly Facebook right now. I'm trying to like get onto the Instagram side, but I'm simply Oho Kent or Oho Woodbury on social media. For Facebook is always a good way to get me. And my
Okay.
website is The Humble Plant.
The Humble Plant. Okay,
Yes.
very good. So that's separate from the other corporate OHO website, because I know you're also your store's listed
My
on that.
store is listed at the corporate
That was
website.
the one we were looking at, was the corporate OHO website.
Yes.
But still, the products are the same. Looks like you got some great stuff. I'm seeing hot chocolate, a lot of cool, unique body oils.
Yeah, we have some really cool products, and we, like I said, all of our hemp is organically grown, and just from small farms, for 50 acres or smaller. We're starting to play more with other monocannabinoids. We're adding in a lot of CBN. Well, all of our sleep products now incorporate CBN in there, which is nice. We do a lot with CBG as well, a nice combination of CBD, CBG, and THC. So our newest seltzer we're launching is a 1-to-1-to-1 ratio of the three, which is
Oh,
nice.
great.
Yeah, it's a beautiful 5 milligrams of each, which is beautiful. Our body oils and our recovery bombs are loaded with CBD as well as CBG at very high, we have very high milligram numbers. So we're giving people a really, really, really nice amount of CBD to help in our topical products, especially with their pain. I think too many companies are afraid to boost up that number. But we're not, we use
Why
ours are
not?
very CBD rich.
Because you don't get high from it.
No, it's great.
It's just great for anti-inflammatory. So
It's a great
it can't hurt. It
No, it
cannot
never
hurt.
hurt. It
So
only can help. And then we also have tinctures as well. So
right.
don't forget the dogs. We have dog biscuits.
I saw
for
dog
leg and
treats on
fence
there as
too.
well. So you
They
got a
have that
lot of great.
endocannabinoid system too that needs to be supported.
No, absolutely. And do any other stores in the area carry your stuff? Do you spread it out, or do you kind of keep it to your store?
Yeah, right at this point right now, it's just at my two stores, but we are looking into getting some wholesaling out to,
I think it would be a
spread the
good
wealth.
product. I think some of your products will go well. They're unique. I think it would
They're
be good
very
to spread
unique.
them
I
out.
am partnering, probably because of my pharmaceutical background. I've been partnering with some counseling offices, psychology offices, as well as some physician offices. And I've been educating the offices on CBD, how it can help with their community, and they're sending their patients to me in collaboration, so that I've kind of become a CBD expert in some of these practices, which is amazing and so forward thinking for, our medical community. And I'm grateful that some of the people in the medical community are really embracing it. And you know what I've learned, Joe? A lot of it is they don't understand either. They don't know.
No, they need to be educated.
they need to be educated. And so, that's what I do too. I go out and educate physicians as well, so that we can add layers of healing outside of what's currently being done with some of the destructive treatment options for a variety of things. And there's a lot of parents are even they want to do better for their kids and the next generation. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Well, I appreciate what you're doing, and I'm glad you have made it through your healing journey, and you're now sharing your experience, strength, and hope with everybody. People can find you at thehumbleplant.com, Oho Woodbury or Oho Kent on Facebook. And do you have Oho on Instagram or no?
Yes, I do. I'm doing Instagram too. Oho Kent, Oho Woodbury, and Instagram as well.
Okay, very good.
And that's how they can find me.
CBD products, check out Jen and Oho. Thank you for being on the show. Uncle Lou, any last words?
I just want to no, I'm here, brother. You know that.
Okay.
Usually give me a couple seconds, but I just want everybody to stay happy, healthy, and high. And as you move into this holiday season, be safe, man.
Happy Thanksgiving.
The authorities are definitely out there, and they're doing their job. So you do your job to stay out of jail.
That's right. Happy Thanksgiving, Kristen. Anything before we go?
Same thing. Have a great week, everyone.
All right.
Happy Thanksgiving, everyone.
Love. Follow me at Joe the Weed Guy or at Greenhaven Media or Cannabis Corner Radio. We'll see you all next week. Happy Thanksgiving. We love you all. Peace and love.